coming to you live from my sofa. Still laid up. You know, it's funny. I woke up this morning, guys. Hell yeah! I was like, oh, okay. I'll just get up and hey, that's odd. I can't move my arms. Oh, let me see. Let me see. Oh yeah, that's not moving. That's not moving either. I guess I'm laying here. So yeah, I've been laid out all day, but
Jesus.
finally got some pain meds, and my wife convinced me to take pain meds. I haven't been taking any type of medication for a couple weeks just to see, you know, to prove something to myself, and kind of got kind of bad there. So we'll see. We'll talk about that good stuff later. This is good. This is our fun show. This is Indie Vote Live Wire. We're gonna have a very weird panel tonight because people are gonna be coming and going. It's gonna be crazy. And of course we've got questions, all the good stuff. And I'm gonna hit the intro from this little device in my hand and see if I can't get it to work right. If it doesn't work right, I'm sorry. It's because, well, again, I'm not at my normal place. Is the mic picking me up okay?
Yeah, you got a little bit of lag.
Okay. Oh, we'll see what happens. Here we go.
And you, sir, are you waiting to receive my limp penis? Now, get your hands off me.
The following program contains violence, disturbing imagery, nudity, and, oh my god, why are you even watching this? Just run away. This shit is going to give you nightmares. For real. The program is rated TV MA NSFW OMFG GAF TTV BYGAS. Why are you still here? Seriously, don't watch this. We can't warn you strongly enough. Do you need a doctor of some kind? What is the matter with you?
The difference is near. It's a revolt. The masses will hear. It's the vote that the people hear. It's the revolt. The cause, the starts here.
Good evening. Hello, everyone. My name is Varian Grant. I am the founder of Indie Vote Media LLC. Started making comics way back in 2008. That's such a long time. It is a long time now that I think of it. And really happy to be here again another Tuesday. So it must be time for Indie Vote Live Wire. I am joined, as always, by beautiful Indie Princess. Hello, ma'am.
I'm tired. I'm working on 45 minutes to an hour sleep, and I have a serious headache. Yeah.
Oh, yes. Yeah,
The weed wore off. So I have a headache again.
More weed.
Is that your go-to now for pain? Now, you know what's funny is that a couple weeks now, Lolo will tell you, I mentioned this earlier, but I haven't taken any medication. I just didn't want to. I was like, okay, I'm done with this, and got pretty bad. So I think it's part of what's another problem I'm having. But yeah, anyway, enough of my sob story. We're joined as well. We had an open mic night tonight. And Dustin and Larry here had jumped on and said they wanted to pop on for a little while. Dustin, introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Dustin Brunell. I'm the owner of Ethereal Comics. I have 5 IPs right now, 4 bi-monthly comics. Yeah, that's about it. I write about all kinds of crazy stuff from Native American horror stories to naked dinosaur chicks.
Cool. Larry, how about you? I see there's a new version of you.
Yeah, I'm looking pretty cute these days, Varian. I think the Wheelers would be proud, brother. But yeah, I'm LP. I do the comic book Nyobi. Currently, you can grab it in comic book shops. Go grab Exciting Comics 17 to 20. 17 is on the shelf right now. And then next week, Nyobi Origins is going to be in the preview magazine for pre-order for the month of April. So that's 40 pages of Nyobi in one shot. So shout out to Antarctic Press for giving us a shot to compete on the comic book shelf. If you're looking for that alternative, we're out there.
Cool. And we'll talk a little about that. Lisa, how are you?
I am doing fantastic. Thank you for having me tonight.
Oh, no problem, no problem. And then just joining us, sneaking in, Max.
Yeah. What's up?
How's it going, sir?
I'm good. Just getting Human Hunters is getting fulfilled. We've got to wait till tomorrow for the post office to show up and pick up all the packages because of the snowstorm and then the holiday we had.
Mm-hmm.
But the digital copy went out last night, and
I got it.
Physical stuff will be coming out very, very soon.
Cool.
Right on.
So, we're kind of going back to basics tonight. We got questions.
I like questions. Bring them on.
Yeah, it's cool because I think we're going to have a lot of different opinions on these. So that's kind of cool. I like to see what you guys think.
Hail double.
So we'll start first with a question from Pezman Pete, who I don't recall if Pezman Pete has ever wrote in before, but I have seen him in other chats. I've seen him a couple other streams, and so we'll see here. All right, here's a question. Who wants to read it?
I'll do it.
Okay.
In my humble opinion, indie comics are going to stagnate sooner rather than later. Why? Question mark. Chasing the mainstream. Hey, it's my indie comic, basically Wolverine, but he's a Brit with a young son. Or it's Batman, but he's not rich. Instead, he's black and racist. Where does these questions come from? What happened to the originality, Pizman Pete? Okay, well, I'll start with that. Listen, a lot of the stories we've told them. When we start off with the first Superman, first superhero really being Superman, some would say the Phantom, but Superman really being the one that took center stage. Everything that came after Superman was basically a copy in some shape, way, or form off of Superman in the superhero genre, right? But what you do is you take these ideas and you make them different somehow. I mean, with my character, she's a cross between a lot of things. You can compare her to Gem and the Holograms. You can compare her to 1970s Dazzler. You can compare her teleporting ability with Blink or Magic. You know what I mean? Anime 90s was a big influence on Nyobi. Lots of things made my character, but she's different than all of them. She's a piece of them and none of them all at the same time.
Max calls bullshit.
No,
I don't think so, brother. I don't think so. I think Max gets it.
No, he's definitely on board, because when I first started with Mary Machine Gun, everyone was like, well, that's just Warrior Nun Ariella, or that's one of the many other nun characters. And I'm like, well, she's not even a nun. Read the story.
Right.
How about you, Dustin? What do you think?
I think the question is bullshit, first off. Let's be real, because you're not coming at it educated at all. What you're doing is you're pigeonholing indies into superhero books. Both your questions are revolving superhero books, first and foremost. So second off, cool, yeah. Why don't you look at indie books? Look, I've owned a comic shop. I owned one for years, and I've also produced my own book now for a year and a half. There are so many people that do so many different things that you don't see, like that you've never seen before. I guarantee, and it's not just because it's my book, but let's be legit, there's nobody out there that's got a book like The Listener. The Listener is incredibly different than anything else that I've ever seen. You know what I mean? Ever. There's not even a book that I could compare it to. And then when it comes to BGD, yeah, okay, cool. It's noir dinosaurs with stripper chicks, and I've never seen that either. You know what I mean? I've never seen that. You know, you can compare a comic book all day long. You can look for comparisons in anything. You could be like, oh yeah, cool. Well, we wore Jinkos forever, and now all of a sudden Jinkos are making a comeback. Cool. Human beings are creatures of habit, first off. And that's a thing. So yeah, I don't know. It's a very ignorant question, in my opinion. Do you think they're gonna stagnate sooner or later? Do you work in comic books? Do you have intel in that we don't know about? That those of us that make a living, because this is my full-time job, those of us that make a living in this industry, you know, where's your knowledge that you're giving us that prove that, like, even supports your questioning? Yes, I believe it's going to sooner than later. Cool. Yet why? What has led you to believe this? Because what you don't think about is the fact that even Kevin Feige has come out and said the future of Marvel Comics is movies. I mean, you've got the guys that are the old guard's walking away, dude. The old guard is walking out.
There's no mainstream to chase.
That's right. There's nothing there anymore.
Well, we're becoming the mainstream now. This
Absolutely.
is what people don't understand, right? Look, I've seen a lot of comic books that start off on crowdfunding, mine included, now starting to end up on the shelf. Antarctic Press brings on a lot of, starting to bring on a lot of crowdfunded books. You got Scout Comics that's done it. You got a few other these smaller publishers that are bringing these out into the forefront. As sort of, mainstream flop, comic books, they say comic books are dying. They're not really dying, but they are changing. Manga's doing great, trade paperbacks, graphic novels. What's sort of dying is the flop, right? That's kind of what's sort of dying, that slow, dismal death. People, they're buying Marvel and DC. A lot of them like it, a lot of them don't. But what we're doing is we're providing that alternative now, and you can go get some of our books right on the shelf, and you're going to see even more of that in the future. I think. I think that we're switching from one sort of mainstream comic book industry into a different one, and Marvel and DC are going to advance onto the movies and the television and all that, just kind of like Star Wars and all that sort of stuff. And there will always be a spot on the shelf for comic books, and we're going to take up those spots. Watch us.
I will say this to Pesman's statement. I have seen books like that, what he's talking about. They do exist, those books where, okay, this is just your version of Superman. But I don't think it's such a widespread problem that it risks, injuring the industry or injuring indie comics, especially.
Well, here's one. You're a good person to ask a question to, Varian, since you own a distribution company.
Mm-hmm.
How well are these comics selling?
Well, that's the thing. It's up and down. I will say this: the audience is hungry for it. We go to Comic Cons with those books, and people are asking questions about them.
But we're not writing the century, right? I think that's the thing. Like what you just pointed out, you're talking about a new Batman that's this, or a new Wolverine, but you have that. Like I said, that same question is geared toward Marvel and DC. That exact question is geared toward these two companies, where Marvel has come out and copied DC so many times that we can taste it over the years. Like I just mentioned, the Sentry. The Sentry was their blonde-haired, blue-eyed version of Superman with yellow and blue spandex instead of blue and red. You know what I mean? And then they made him agoraphobic to give him something that was different than kryptonite. It's going to happen. It's always going to happen. There's always going to be somebody that finds a good idea, and runs with it. And then you see 10 more of them come out at the same time. Happens in film now. If you put out a scary movie, 10 dudes in the indie industry are putting out a scary movie that's the exact same. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, you remember there's always a couple Meteor, or the two Meteor movies. We always think about those
right.
two. Gosh, I mean, The Ring and VHS, they're pretty much the same movie. Lisa, when you see this question, what's your first thought?
Well, I actually see a lot of original ideas coming to the table, not rehashed, regurgitated stories. I talk to a lot of creators who are looking to bring something new out there to the industry, and I do see that they have success. One of my clients said recently funded his second book, JT Malloy, with Sapphire Spectre. When he first launched, he did $14,000 on his first Kickstarter, but he had a great offering and great art and an original story.
Again, I don't think it's such a big problem because, man, I think that maybe
the
what's happened is
the originality is in the
Yeah.
indie sphere.
Yeah,
That's where the originality is.
maybe
you get
someone
these
stole Peasant
corporate-
Pete's idea.
You get corporate, and then you start getting all these corporate fat bodies with their hands and everything, and then they just want to get a little piece of every little thing they possibly can, and then it ends up changing into something that's been focus group to death,
right.
and
Hey,
sanitized.
Hey, Max, I'm one of those corporate fat bodies. Take that. I'm gonna get people selling drugs in the community. Wait, I sell drugs in the community. You can't. The next question: what do you guys want? Do you guys want one that's going to cause speculation or tense debate?
Give me speculation. I gotta go in 12 minutes.
All right, here we go.
Big debate means I'm gonna want to hang out for an hour.
All right, here we go.
Am I reading again?
Sure, go ahead.
I'm playing Randy. Okay.
Yep.
I'm waiting for some shady yet industrious grifter to make a site allowing us to gamble on the box office of a comic campaign. What's the over under on the first day total for Berserker 2? I got $50. That says north of 250K. The great Mason Phillips.
So a site that would allow us to bet on how a book's campaign is going to go. That can get dangerous.
Well, you don't need a site to do that. Just we have those talks all the time in private. Hey, this just launched. How do you think that's going to do? And
but to put money down, I mean,
I'm gonna shoot this one down right here and now, because it's hard to be able to do that, first and foremost because it's a Kickstarter or an Indiegogo campaign, and once you fund, you're going to have all these cards that error out and pledges that don't go through, or people that have dropped. So how can you verify the actual funds? You can't.
I mean, yeah, you take numbers at face value. I mean,
I think that I think the biggest question is they're literally asking as well about this particular book. And if you followed the first book, it was a fucking train wreck. Like, it was a train wreck. Everybody was like, oh, it's Keanu Reeves. Great dude, right? Humanitarian, awesome individual. Put out his first comic book, okay? What people don't look at is the fact is he had very little to do with that book. Like, very little to do with it. Everybody thought his fingers were all in it and shit.
No, he was the face of the book.
Yeah.
That's it.
It's got to use his
politics,
likeness,
right?
and he did a little advertising for it.
Absolutely. So when they find out that he has shit to do with it, people flip the fuck out, and all of a sudden the book tanks. This book that people order a shit ton of, all of a sudden tanks. I mean, you can get a 9.8.
It did over 1 million on Kickstarter.
For sure. But when the book came out, so many people had it, it wasn't worth what they assumed it was going to be worth.
What do you mean, like worth it on the secondary market?
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
Well, I mean, but that's what happens when you sell like a bunch of copies of something. Like
For
the reason
sure.
why you can get X-Men #1 by Jim Lee is because there were 8 million copies of it sold.
Absolutely.
That's why it's in dollar bins everywhere. It's sort of like the definition of not rare. For a comic book to be rare, it needs a low print run. It needs to be a first appearance or something major.
Well, look at New Mutants 98. New Mutants 98 was in dollar bins till 15 years ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, it's there all these little concepts, but this particular book sold so well, and people weren't buying it to collect it. People were buying it to flip it, and it really screwed up this book because, like, right now, you can't get rid of it. You know,
No,
you're-
no, I got 2 copies of it myself, and I bought it, thinking the exact same thing that you mentioned, Dustin, without me actually realizing my own my own theory is, they're probably not going to be worth squat because there's just going to be way too many of them.
absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I've gotten that book. Put it this way, the first time I got the book, it was in a big raffle. And I was like, hey, we scored. We got Berserker, the
Right.
huge trade paperback. This is awesome. And then I got another, like, I did a couple weeks later, another show. I did one of these little $5 grab bags, and it's in there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, whoa. Then a couple days later, a couple days ago, I just got another one. I think I had 3 copies of that book in some form.
Uh-huh.
It's weird. But well, okay. I gotta ask you a question, Larry. You find out you go to griffkings.com.
Love it.
And you find it's you find that there's already a site up. They've already got it set up. They're waiting the next launch of your next Nyobi book.
Yeah.
And they've got all of it up there. I mean, they've got the spread up there. Like, he's not doing more than 200,000 guaranteed.
Well, you can almost do that now with a site called Quick Track.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right, where it will show you sort of like the projections of your campaign as the campaign sort of moves along.
Would you get in on the action on yourself?
No, God, no.
Bet against yourself.
I bet on myself succeeding, which I've done now for the last 7 years. I bet on myself doing better than every other Kickstarter we've ever done. Well, I'm not going to say we're going to make X amount of dollars guaranteed and put $50 on it. No,
I'm just saying, because I imagine people being like, sports stars. Like, oh yeah, I'm gonna easily go out here tomorrow. I'm gonna drop 20K on the first day. I'm gonna pull a Max DeVille, sell out completely on the first day. No more printings. Max, would you be upset if you found out people were betting on you?
No, I wouldn't be upset if they were betting on me. I don't care. Let them bet on me. People can bet on whatever they want to bet on. I wouldn't bet on me failing.
Dustin, would you want in on the action? You saw a site and they had your book up there.
I mean, it's law of averages, right?
Yeah.
If my book's up there, I'm going to bet on what I know my book makes. Generally speaking, you know what I'm saying? If like right now, it's weird though. It's like it's already been mentioned. You can't really pick a number because like BGD first issue came out and we made 6,300 on BGD and no one had done a book like it that I'm aware of. You know what I mean? And then this issue comes out in 7 days. We've made almost $6,000.
Yeah, boy.
I mean? So it's very hard to say that you're going to bet money. You want to be proud of yourself, right? You want to be proud of the work you're putting out and you want to support yourself and show people that you support yourself. But at the same time, I'm also like, how do I know I'm going to get my money? I don't trust these fucking people. I don't know them.
See, I'll put my $50 down and then I'll go on Pitches Be Crazy and win. And then I'm not putting nothing in it.
Yeah.
Right. Instead of putting $50 down, I'll just put my book on eBay and get my $50 that way.
You can try that. Yeah. I see.
Well, what do you mean? I tried it. I've done it. You know what I mean?
Oh my gosh, Berserker is the Phantom comes alive of comics. I thought it was I know, Larry, that you said you have to get out of here, but
yeah,
thank
you for having me on. I'll share one thing with you before I go.
Sure. We got here.
Boom. This will be in Previews Magazine next week. What a gorgeous spread that Antarctic Press did for us. Sure. This takes up the whole top half of their page. You know what I mean? But they got 3 great covers, one from Justin Hunt, one from Courtney Rose Dameron. And for the first time ever, Antarctic Press is doing an incentivized sort of deal. Like if a comic book store orders 20 copies, they will get that gorgeous Matt Weldon cover. So basically a 1 out of 20 variant is what they're doing. And they're doing it starting with me. So I guess I get to be the guinea pig for that. But you got to love the little tagline at the bottom, right? I didn't know they were going to do this, but it says, from the publisher of Rags, Punchline, Warrior Down Aurelia, and Common America, and I'll add Patriotica in there too. The next generation of Bad Girl starts here. And look, we get to be the poster child of that. It's amazing.
But not too bad. Don't go too bad.
No, well, Nyobi's she's got a bad girl look, but good girl heart. You know that's how I describe her.
Right on.
So, guys, go ahead and the Preview Magazine should be out next week. There'll be an order code in there. Go ahead and order this book. You have all February to do that, and then it'll be in your pull box or on the shelf in April.
Cool. That's nice. Oh, no reorders. Antarctic Press. It's
Yeah, just a small company that's only been in the game for 35 years.
and it's Larry's invaded the comic store. Now you can't get rid of them. Welcome to comic shop.
But
There
this
he
is what I was
standing.
talking about earlier. You know, we're going from crowdfunding into comic book shops. It's happening.
Yep, absolutely.
Guys, thank you very much, man. Love being here. I wish I could stay longer. I actually have to go do my real job. This is starting to become more of a job, though. I mean, today, Varian, I got my first royalty payment ever in comic books. And it wasn't very much money, but it was mine. And it was like the start of, like, you know, more royalty payments to come down the road. So that was pretty cool.
Real quick from Critical Blast, Larry. So will you still crowdfund future issues now that you have a distributor?
Absolutely, because that's where the real money comes in. Without the crowdfunding, we can't make the book. If we can't make the book, then we have nothing to give the Antarctic Press, right? But so the question will come into play. Well, why should we back your book if we could just get it for $4.99 on the shelf 2 months later? Well, if you're strictly a reader and you don't mind waiting, then there is no reason. Go buy it at the shop for $4.99 if you have a shop near you. But what crowdfunding does is allows us to get the book out to readers ahead of time before it arrives on shelves. You get the pick through a variety of variant covers that will not be on the shelf. So, and on top of that, sometimes the company may decide to edit something out of the book. On my Kickstarter, you get the full thing unedited. You know, not that Antarctic Press has edited us yet, but you never know, they might.
They will. That's the first thing they wanted to do to Mary Machine Gun. We got to change this. And I'm like, no.
So that'd be the advantages of getting on Kickstarter. You know, I've seen people flip my Paul Green Nyobi cover on eBay for $150. So, you know, we never put that one out on the shelf, you know. So we cater to two sorts of markets. We cater to the reader who wants to go and just grab the book for $5 on the shelf and read it. But we also cater, you know, Dustin had, you know, sort of implied earlier about the collector's market, you know, with the previous question. We certainly understand that there's a collector's market out there that like these covers, that want to get them CGC'd, that might want to put them on display or flip them on eBay or, you know, have them for their personal collection. We absolutely understand and love you guys. Keep coming.
Oh, yeah. Those are my favorite people.
Right?
People that back the book on, because they're the ones helping make the books happen.
That's right. Absolutely. The guys that come in and buy, we have like the VIP packages on our campaigns, you know, so it's got every cover. Those are the folks that come in and they're like, they buy every cover and go to shows just to show up and see you and be like, hey, look, dude, can you sign every one of these covers? And you do it with a smile on your face because you're super stoked that they're, you know, backing your projects and, you know, supporting you. So yeah, absolutely.
All right, you got to get out of here. So we're going to let you get to work.
Yeah. I get to finish writing Ninja High School with Nyobi one shot tonight. That's what I do at my work. I get to sit in a hotel that's barren and write my comic book stuff.
That's going to be a lot less pornographic than I was hoping for. I know it. But...
right? All right, guys. Have a good one.
Hey, we'll see you. You know what? Larry's missing the real money. He's missing the real money. Nyobi versus Bonsai Girl. That's the move. That's the book we want to see.
Man, look, I speaking of crazy stuff that we need to see, I need to talk to you later about the fact that Devin Massey and I just had a conversation about a comic book, like a new comic book.
Yeah.
And for you guys that don't know Devin works on Cave-Woman. He's been working on Cave-Woman for umpteen years, you know, and great guy. So yeah, I'm definitely there's wild shit going on right now. So
Thanks, I'll tell you. So Max, you're gonna switch to actually who's switching to reading questions?
Oh, I'll read. I'm fine.
Let's see here. Can you see that one? It's kind of small. I know. I apologize.
After years.
No, don't blame me.
After years of going as a fan and a volunteer, I was excited to be asked to be on the board of directors for my local con. I got a cold dose of reality the past weekend during a floor space and planning section. They were separating artists by friend groups, poly-econ affiliations, and finally orientation. If they so choose to take advantage of the charting, it breaks my heart. Is this the future of my beloved Comic-Cons? From Davis.
So I checked in. I checked in on this. I emailed back, and what he's saying is the convention is doing is so if you're a part of a friend group, like we're the best friends from Baltimore, Maryland friend group, then they'll put you guys all together.
Okay.
And if you got your Whisper network over there, you guys can all sit together. And if you
No,
feel
but
comfortable,
that's poly-econ. So like they put all the right-wing people in the same spot and the left-wing
yes,
people in the same spot and the communists over here and the
Jesus
libertarians
Christ.
over here.
yes, yep.
So that part is horseshit, right? But putting people, so like we do a show, we were invited to a show. We won't say the name of the show or anything like that. We're invited to a show by a friend who happens to know the guy that owns the show. Okay, so guy that owns the show is like, man, if you're coming, who works with you that I can bring with you? Okay. So then you go so and so, so and so, and so and so. And then he's like, well, I'm going to put you guys all together so you can get books signed easily and work together to help each other sell books. I don't think there's anything wrong with that in any way, shape, or form. If Whisper Network, my dude, I mean, that's like saying, that it's a bad thing for us as friends to want to support one another. Like there's 12 of us that are going to Vegas this year. Like 12 of us together going that have tables all up with each other. You know what I mean? They all publish together and stuff. I don't think that's a bad thing. And I don't think it's playing toward anything. It's literally people that are like, man, let's say I really like, Mary Machine Gun. Okay. I really, really like Mary Machine Gun. Well, oh my gosh, they're bringing 5 of the guys that work on Mary Machine Gun together. It makes sense to put them together. I mean,
that makes sense. Yeah, that would make sense.
Right.
I've got no issue with that.
Yeah. I don't get the whole political thing though. I don't even see. You know me. I don't even know what the fuck temperature the water is. You know what I'm saying? So it's like that part is.
I was at a con. They had a LGBTQ section.
Put me by myself in the corner, I guess.
Right. Don't put baby in the corner. Nobody puts baby in the corner.
I was at a show. They had an LGBTQ section, but that was by your, you could sign up to be there if you wanted to. Whether they didn't force you, like, hey, you got to go over there. It was if you want to be over there. And I was worried.
Oh, you're trans? You must go to the LGBTQ area.
Right. And thankfully they weren't doing. But I was worried because I was like, wait a minute. If you have an LGBTQ area, wouldn't that allow some person who wants to come in and make trouble, just gives them a I can go over here and maximize my
Oh yeah, for sure, right on. I'm with you.
So I mean now here's the problem though, guys.
Hassle all of them at the same time.
Yeah. here's my problem with this type of thing, and I've seen it. I mean, like that what they said, the friend groups, and Justin's right. If it's, hey, you guys all do books together, it'd be kind of cool to have you all together. That's fine, but I will say this, and this is just from my heart, because I got this question in on Saturday, so I had time to think about it. I know there's a lot of grouping. I know people tend to gang up and group up, and that's fine. But remember this: if you want to gang up on somebody, eventually, it's gonna come a time where gangs have to do what gangs do. And I'm telling you right now, you can't go out here and internet gangbang, and then when you see somebody at Comic-Con, I want to get professional, because you're going to see these people and then you go, oh my goodness, why is that guy acting like an idiot here? Because you've been internet gangbanging, you've been, it's just.
See, man, maybe it's just me, but I don't live in that lifestyle. It sounds silly to me. It sounds silly to me.
I wish I was joking, but I've seen it. That's
crazy, man.
I've seen them. We're gonna, we're a group, and it's okay. But you gotta remember, guys. I mean, you're going to see these people at some point. You're gonna cross paths, and that guy who you've been talking shit to, online, might not be as laid back as you thought he was.
Yeah, keyboard warrior's not gonna live that long.
Yeah.
For sure. I'm with you.
But I got a question for you, Max. You go to Comic-Con and you say you go you get your table and you notice you look around and everyone around you is you know they're rich. You know, they got thousands of books. You know, they got all their settings and all their stuff all up, and you say, "Hey, this is a quite a nice table, a nice area to come in." And I guess this is the Bentonhurst area. So they call it the Bentonhurst area. We never seen you here before. Who are you again?
Yeah, I don't know how I got here.
Yeah. Honey, this is Maxwell DeVille. Maxwell. I like. There's been times I've gotten a comment. I've got a table late at a show, and I got put with crafters, and that's fine. But imagine what happens now when I get put in the Poly Econ affiliation. Oh, we got to give you a table over here with the. We're just gonna give you a table here with the clan. You'll be fine. It's
the only tables we have available is over here by the clan. So Varian, that's where you're gonna sit.
Yeah. Ran out of white sheets over there, by the way. Don't know why. But yeah, I mean, it's just that kind of thing bothers me, and I would be worried about that. But hopefully, it's not the future of cons. Lisa, would you would you like to organize a show like that where you gotta break up?
Oh hell no! That wouldn't even be on my agenda like that. I am all about inclusivity and keeping things. I have a favorite saying. I have no favorite children. I try to treat everyone the same, and I think that that's the way cons should be. I was at C2E2, and it was a very nice mix, I feel, of how they set up their show. Mm-hmm. They had a variety of LGBTQ friendly vendors that were just mixed throughout the show.
Now, what they might consider doing is splitting up the artists by kind of like a maturity level of the comics, because nothing can kind of kill your mojo more than when you got this book that's either a sexy book or a violent book, and you're right next to Flappy's
Archie.
Cartoon House.
Flappy's Cartoon House.
Next to Archie.
They put us when we were in Baltimore, or not Baltimore, sorry, when we were in Michigan. They had me, Tom, Jim, and then they had like a cartoonist on our side, and then after the cartoonist, they had the guys that worked on Goosebumps.
Oh God!
It was like, oh man, like we're all like, me, I'm putting stickers over my stuff, and I'm putting stuff behind the counter, and it was like,
I remember that.
Yeah.
Hey guys, I'm somebody.
Yeah, but at the same time, I'm like, oh my God, there's so many kids walking down the aisle that it's like I don't even want to pitch. You know what I mean? Because all my books are hyper violent. It's like, I don't know.
Hey kid, want to see some gore?
Yeah. Like we've got Greed, and Greed is, everybody in our tribe messes with me about Greed, because the fact that Greed is, it's got a 10-year-old kid as the main character, and there's covers of him, you know what I mean? So people walk up and they're like, and those are the covers I can show anywhere, so they're like, is this a kid's book? You're like, not really, you know what I mean? Not so much. Well, I'm going to buy it anyway. Well, that's your business. You want to buy it, don't be angry with me. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I don't know.
I never had a parent get mad about a book. They've asked me, how bad is it? Oh, well, it's, probably nothing you wouldn't see on the CW at this point. Like, okay. That's
fine. A whole different animal, though, right? Because, like, when we were kids, half the shit on TV would have never been on TV.
Yeah.
Like, it would have never even made it. Like, the stuff like, what is that? TV shows that my wife watches and stuff. like during the middle of the day now would have been something that you were trying to sneak in at 12 o'clock at night to watch on HBO. You know what I mean? It's like,
I mean, I've noticed like a lot of like the higher up as you get in the channels, like they'll say the word shit pretty freely.
Oh yeah.
And that's not even really on a like a movie channel.
An F-bomb now, right? You can drop an F-bomb now in a PG-13 movie. You can only drop one
once,
but you could still drop it in a PG-13 movie. And when we were kids, Gremlins was rated R. You know?
Yeah.
So it's like it's very different. So like when parents ask me if it's okay, I'm like,
but the Monster Squad was rated PG,
right?
Because there was no PG-13.
Right. You know, it's very different, you know, how we find what we find suitable and what we don't. You know, like I let my daughter read Greed, but I'll never let her read, or the listener, but I never let her read BGD. You know, I never let her read If It Hops. You know what I mean? And people automatically see cartoony characters and whatnot, and they're assuming that that's okay. My kid would, even though Cool World is so different and nowhere near as rough as some of the stuff on daytime television now, I still wouldn't let my daughter watch Cool World. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. You know, I'm a prude. Get the fuck out.
I'll tell you, I must have been 10 years old. There was this movie. It sat above my it was like my parents had a bunch of tapes, and it was set up high, but I knew I had to get it because there was some controversy behind this movie. I just knew I had to get a hold of it. I must have been about 10. My father was still alive at this point. I remember one day saying, "Damn it, he's going to work. My mother's going to work. No one's coming upstairs. I'm gonna watch this movie. I got the VCR. I got this tape. I unsheathed this tape from this little box.
Oh, Lord.
I stuck in the VCR. I hit play, and I began to watch Showgirls. I was 10 years old.
Like, what the hell's the point of this show? I don't understand.
Yeah, I'm like, why is Jesse Spano doing this?
And you know, the fun thing is that's nowhere near as bad as half the crap on TV nowadays.
No. I mean, other than some of the full frontal, nudity parts, it's yeah. I mean, they can show up. Put it this way, they can put Showgirls on TV and and there's probably a lot less they have to edit now.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But I kind of cringe when we start thinking about putting ratings on our comics, because I've seen the MPAA be turned and perverted into a money-making scheme. And I can only imagine that someone out here in comics would figure out a way to make a group that gives an official rating for your comics, but you got to pay us. And, I can imagine.
The Comics Authority sort of did that from the beginning when they were like, well, we're going to create this group of rules that we'll all kind of go by when we're publishing these books.
Mm-hmm.
So they don't twist children's minds, because they're always concerned that everything's twisting children's minds. Heavy metal's twisting children's minds. Comic books are twisting children's minds. Horror movies are twisting children's minds.
Video games make people kill people.
Exactly.
Yeah. They never thought we just made
I just make people horny.
Well, yeah. Unfortunately, according to your inbox, Lola gets some of the worst messages after the show goes off. It's like, hey, I'm gonna do this to you. It's like, what kind of crap?
I hope you read them in that voice. Like, I hope.
Well, I try to read into it. Yeah.
You ever get a dick pic and just kind of like, wow?
Once for sure, yeah. That is actually unsolicited too.
Yeah, I mean,
paid before.
She's brought him to me like, look at this. I'm like, what is he feeding that thing?
Yeah, it's funny.
That's a
Is that a
specimen.
graboid? What is this?
Yeah. It's like seriously, it's like one guy, like I was gonna tell he needs to go get that check. That could be like elephantitis.
Oh my god.
What?
That's about it. Or she gets guys, and then like I feel bad because there's people who message her.
I didn't get one that As always, what is it? Me, sexy, fuck you.
Whoop.
Yeah. Hey Trish, how's it going? Yeah, there's that one. There's one guy. He always messages her, but I'm afraid the guy doesn't have good sense. Because I looked at his picture, and he has one of those. You guys are gonna laugh, but he has one of those can't get right smiles.
Okay.
Like I know, if I explain to this guy why he's wrong, it's just not gonna do any good.
Right. Right.
So it's like, sorry,
Like the
Lolo,
guy
you
that
got-
you had in school, right? Like we had you'd had that dude that was walking around that would like was super rude, and we don't even know that he was there to be super rude. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like, yeah, for sure. You'd feel bad and whatnot. And I mean, the guy that would always drop his try to give everybody his phone number, and you know what I mean? I mean that exists, and you know that's grain of salt type of shit. You know what I mean? But it still doesn't make it okay in any retrospect fashion or anything like that. But you do have to be aware that there are those individuals that may or may not be there altogether, and may or may not have someone helping them interact with other people. You know,
or just do what I do. Roll over, answer the phone, and say, "Hey, bro, she can't talk after 11. Now you got to call back." All right.
I got
All
punched
right.
in the face at the zoo. Like at the zoo, I shit you not, I got punched in the face. I'm a pretty big dude, and it's real. It's not very often that someone wants to, make smoke with me. You know what I mean? So when we were at the zoo, this girl walked up. She couldn't have been 14 years old. Walked up and punched me right in the face. Like what? Smashed me in the face.
Wow.
And my wife was like, "Hey, hold on." And my immediate reaction is, you close-handed me. You know what I mean? So I'm really upset now. And her mom comes around the corner freaking out, apologizing and everything else. And it's one of those things that I'm not
Sorry, bitch, you're going in the lion cage.
yeah, I'm not even mad anymore though, right? Like it's one of those things that you can't even be mad about because that individual may not have even realized what they were doing at the time. You know what I mean? So it's like, fuck,
You know what? I that reminds me of a story. I used to work at General Motors, and there was a gentleman out there who had a some type of psychotic break, and he went around punching everybody. But these weren't just punches. No. These were Superman punches. Like,
oh my god,
you were going like he was knocking motherfuckers out. Okay,
I feel nap.
he just walk up to you on the job. You look at him like, "Hey, how's it going, Earl?" Pop. You just lay it out. So I was so glad to be late to work that day. When I arrived and saw the carnage, I was like, "Wow, did y'all catch that motherfucker? I don't want him walking up on me. Be ashamed to get my ass whooped."
Coming out of nowhere, popping you from behind.
Yeah. I mean, you just sitting there. I keep waiting for it to happen at a con. I hate to say that, but I keep waiting for somebody just to go on punch for it. Let's walk around.
Yeah, but there's some jerks out there, man, that show up. It's a thing, dude. We were doing it was my daughter's first time cosplaying in a competition. It was Walker Stalker, I don't know, 2015, 2016. And so she was, I don't know, 8 years old, roundabout. And this dude got so pissed off that I had these antlers sticking out of my chest because we did this like zombie take on what was it? The dude with Elsa and Anna, Kristoff and Anna. So I went as Kristoff and my wife went as Anna, and my daughter went as Elsa, but she was like Michonne Elsa, right? So she's like dragging like dead folks around the show, and she accidentally bumped into this dude, and he got so mad. And my temper starts flaring up, and I'm just like, dude, she's 8 years old. Chill out. You know what I mean? Just chill out. And he's like pitching a fit. It was so bad that other people came up and security took him out of the show. And I was like, I have to, assess my own situations because it doesn't do anything for us to get angry back. You know what I mean? It's just going to escalate a situation. And people are just crazy, man. You don't want that stuff. You know, the last thing you want is, you know, we've had all kinds of issues with people doing crazy stuff at shows, people doing crazy stuff at concerts and stuff. You don't want that entering the realm of cons, you know.
See what it is. I don't. You see what it is, Dustin. They want me to become the Kanye West.
Oh gosh.
I've been in the comics. I'm telling you, start saying all kind of crazy shit. I make late night posts, late night video streams.
Man.
Just start taking Ambien.
Oh gosh.
That stuff will have you speaking crazy. If you stay awake and don't go to sleep, you'll be talking crazy.
Oh yeah.
I was making deals and shit with bands, booking bands when I was on Ambien. I had to quit taking it. I'm like, God, I'm spending money. I gotta stop.
Yeah, this show's coming up. Are we showing up, Max? Yeah, you guys are coming to this one. I've already booked like 15 bands, but I'd really like you to be there too.
Max, I've been looking at Atrocity Press lately.
Yeah.
I've been looking at all the stuff on here. The hoodies, and I got to thinking about something the other day because Lola's in college and she gets all these things she has to look at. She has to look at user interface, and I was wondering. I said, you know, for me, it's like back in my head when I'm designing a site, the user interface. But with like with you and Dustin, I know you and Lisa, is user interface a big deal when you go to a website, or especially with your own? Because everything's laid out pretty simply here.
Yeah, I mean, I try to make it as simple as possible. I mean, this is just a WooCommerce site, and I kept the theme just stupid simple, and then just made everything as simple as possible. I mean, checkout simple is super simple. It tells you what's on sale, hooks it all up.
I was talking to a guy the other day, and he was really trying to convince me that Wix was the way to go.
Wix is terrible because
I told him that, and he wouldn't listen to me.
They keep your data. They hold it hostage if you try to move. They'll hold your website hostage.
I didn't like Shopify either. I mean, there's just the UI is so important. Like it really is, and people take it for granted. And look how clean this is. I mean, Max has got it so clean. It's so easy to find what you're looking for. You know what I mean? The only thing that I find that I like to make sure, and with the new website, I have to make sure that everything is just right with it, is I have what we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. We've got 9 issues out right now with over 100 covers. You know what I mean? So it's like, I like to be able to go in and click like a book. Like I like to be able to click on the title and then see everything that's involving that particular title, whether it's t-shirts, swag, whatever, what have you, for each title. You know what I mean? And look how this is super clean too. You know what I mean? It just needs to be simple, man. UI is great, but you can overcomplicate your interface. You know?
Oh yeah, you can make stuff look way too complicated.
Yeah, and people don't want to mess with it, you know, let's be real. Most people that buy our comic books, the books that we put out, are between the ages of 20 and 55. That's generally the age range of folks that are buying our books. So cool. It's great when you start, bringing in bells and whistles and stuff. But man, Shopify hates me so much. It's not even funny. And no, I had one. I just couldn't. It was like every time I would try to do something, there was an issue with them. There was an issue with getting back and forth with them. But anyway,
I think I started with Shopify, and then I just decided I was going to do it all myself. That way, I had all the data.
Exactly,
it was all mine.
I was talking to a guy, and he had told me, he's like, look, when you do online, and this is years ago. He says, when you do your online store, make it super quick. If you can find a company to do it for you, that's great. Make sure they're reliable and responsible, and they don't have too many clicks from adding it to your cart to purchasing it. He says, if you give a lot of these stores give people 4 and 5 chances to change your mind. Do you want it in the cart? How many do you want in the cart? What's your address for the calculate the shipping? It's like, oh, so they're just clicking and then they're pockets are starting to get tighter and tighter as they're clicking. But I like this, Max. This is laid out pretty nice. I have nice big pictures. Look at that. You can scan in and zoom in and kind of see the image.
Yeah, the only thing I want to do, and I haven't gotten around to it yet, is you see how the related products and stuff are squares?
Yeah.
I want to make them rectangular so they fit the book shape.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just CSS, and I'm lazy and haven't done it. So
There is one thing I don't like, Max. I'm sorry.
Do what?
There's one thing I don't like.
What's that?
Just from taking all these damn classes and shit. I don't like the white background.
Yeah.
Now I gotta disagree. I like the white background because you got the black bars there, so like to me it just looks clean. But
That's what we were going for, just as clean as possible.
It's clean, but it's too simplistic for me.
Yeah.
See, but that's you got a weird style over. You got like a.
No, I've been studying all this damn shit for 4 years now.
I don't know, man. I think it's weird. But this guy was trying to convince me that Wix was the way to go, and I'm like, look, man. By the time I paid Wix a month to do what I could do for myself, you know, like I would have given Wix like $400. Damn near $400 a month to maintain this site.
It'll cost you $30 a year to register a domain, get hosting, and get an SSL.
Mm-hmm.
$30 for the year.
If you do it through Wix, you're gonna pay.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna start at about $200 for that. So yeah, folks, you know, come on, figure out where you're shopping. Max, any sales coming to? I seen some things are for sale, but any sales coming?
Oh yeah,
I was
we get
upset.
lots of sales.
There was no Martin Luther King Day sale yesterday. What happened, man?
Oh, no, we do sales every once in a while. Usually, like we'll do a sale whenever we add a new book. So when Human Hunters gets added on here, we'll do another sale.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the items are on sale just as it is.
Where's Human Hunters at right now? Where does like I know you say you're getting ready to go into fulfillment.
I got a copy of it.
The digital copies are sent out. The physical copies are sitting in my living room waiting for the mailman to pick them up.
So you gotta wait for it. So mailman's coming. You know, I did that very recently myself with the mail. I set up for them to come and pick it up. Hopefully it works.
I've never had a problem before, except for this time we had a snowstorm, and then today was a holiday.
You know, some of those eBay
or yesterday was a holiday.
Hopefully they're not eBay orders because those folks can go crazy.
Yeah.
eBay was they ordered the item yesterday. They send you a message. How come I haven't received it? Like,
it's not even the next day yet, dude.
Yeah. I laugh, but that happens to Dave Hernan all the time. So it was he had the Atrocity Press Up, and that's Max DeVille's company. It is listed in the description of the video, so you can go over there and check out all of his stuff. Get yourself some Mary Machine Gun. And his other stuff because he's got
Neo Tokyo. We got a Mary Machine Gun. We've got Neo Tokyo. Soon we'll have Human Hunters.
Oh, what did you say? Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, you need to make one more tank top.
One more tank top.
Yeah, with the little your logo on it. You got a T-shirt, but you don't got a tank top.
Oh, okay.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. I'll do it. It don't cost me a thing to make it.
You know, we do that with like, you know, make all the shirts and everything. You totally sell, and it's weird when you see someone walking around. I remember I made some shirts, screen printed them years ago, and it was about 4 years after I made them. I seen a guy walking around my local Comic-Con with one on. And I'm like, oh, that's the shirt I made. That's funny. And I wanted to kind of go up to him like, hey, man, I made that shirt. But I was like, that'd be kind of weird.
I made that shirt you wear. Like, oh, I picked it up at the thrift store. Oh, okay.
But Jimmy, I also wear tank tops because of these.
Well, yeah,
I
but
can't wear like a t-shirt that chokes me.
where they pull back and up. It's weird. She looks frumpy in t-shirts. It's her fault. Lisa,
Yes.
so you've we talked a little bit earlier, and you told me that you messaged me. You said, "Hey, heck, yo, I gotta, you've been a judge on Pitches Be Crazy for a while now, and which is a very fun show. People have told me, like it's one of their favorite shows on Indie Vote, and we like doing it. So you've been on there for quite a while, and you got a chance to meet a lot of creators who you might have not met otherwise, because but you would have probably met them because you have a management company.
Yes.
And I am usually very hard on people in the management companies, but not so much on you. So we'll see. Explain to us what it is you do Melone management.
So, Melone Management basically provides marketing support for independent creators who are looking to do crowdfunding. And with that marketing support, that can include complete build out of the crowdfunding campaign, including graphics, Kickstarter or Indiegogo marketing, social media marketing, and even like video creation, voiceovers. We do really try to tap into giving creators a voice and an outlet, and even getting them on networks like Indie Volt and getting them on shows like this so they can promote their work.
So, because I need to be set right. When you have someone who says, "Okay, I'm going to hire a management company," and they come to you, can they just come to you? They have no idea what's going on, or they just got a book. They got a book idea. Do you have to dissuade a person from Is it a management? Is the manager's job to maybe even dissuade a customer from launching? Like, hey, you're not ready yet. You need to step back.
Yes, absolutely. And sometimes that's hard. And it's not hard because it's turning away money. It's hard because these people don't necessarily know what they need to make the comic work, and they want their vision to come true, and it's really hard to kind of crush those dreams a little bit and say you're not quite there, but come see me, once you do X, Y, and Z, then we can talk.
Now, as a stubborn creator myself, if you tell me that, I'm gonna say screw her. I'm gonna go to another management company. I'm gonna go elsewhere and still get through. I mean, and that sucks. People, you know how people are. We're stubborn. When you see, like, I guess my question is, since you're doing management, you've been doing it for quite a while now. Is there any trends that you see now that you don't like, that you kind of wish would stop? I'm putting you on the spot here, but are there any trends like in crowdfunding you're like, that's not going to work long term?
Yeah, you are putting me on the spot. Well, right now, in the long term, social media marketing has become a problem for crowdfunders. With the algorithms constantly changing on Facebook, especially, and posts being pulled. We've had to get creative with not posting anything that has to do with Kickstarter. Facebook wants you to stay on Facebook. They don't want you to go away to other sites. So unless you're paying the money.
That's why those paid ads so important.
Yeah.
Dustin, you and I have talked about crowdfunding campaigns quite a bit. And it's kind of a different episode of Indie today. We showed everyone we get to have these deep conversations this time. Quick question for you. We talked about crowdfunding. And if anybody else has any crowdfunding stories, in the chat, please pop in and let us know. Is it like, because like if I see somebody who was using and this is just me, and I'm an idiot. Keep that in mind. I change my mind all the time. I'm a big hypocrite. If someone has a, because we slapped our heads yesterday when I told you guys about the gentleman who's he's using GoFundMe, asking for money so that he can pay an artist to do his comic book that he's then going to put on Kickstarter/Indiegogo.
Right.
So he's not ever going to put his actual own money into this, and we all kind of slapped our own heads. But maybe we could be considered elitist, because if you see someone using a management company, do you say, "Oh, this person must be lazy. This person must be," what does that say to you?
There's a lot. There's a lot going on right now in kickstarting, right, and crowdfunding and stuff. Like, so the biggest thing with me is let's be honest, I'm as elitist as they come, okay? Because of the fact that I paid for everything out of my pocket, blood, sweat, and tears.
I was trying to get you to say that. Great, thanks.
You know what I mean? It really is. It's because of the fact that when I started, I didn't have anybody help me. You know what I mean? It was the hardest thing I've ever done, and I'm so grateful I did it, because it made me feel like I was allowed to stand with all these beautiful people like Max and and people that have worked their asses off to put their books out there. You know what I mean? It was something I was very proud of, and that I was literally beating concrete to sell books, and those things are all so important. Yeah, ink poisoning too, for sure. But it's when I see someone that has a drive, though, I don't hate on anyone's hustle. You know what I mean? If that's what you had to do, like, if you had to do it to survive, look, this is my full-time job. This is it. This is what I do. This is how I put food in my kids' mouths and stuff. You know what I mean? This is it. My wife works full-time too. So it's like, if we didn't work so hard, our kids wouldn't have the lifestyles that they can live, and we're very thankful that they can. So if you do what you need to do to get by, I don't hate the dude that stole the bread from, the stall to eat. I don't hate that guy. You know what I mean? It's the cards that he's dealt, that he has to use that situation and go with what he wants. Not everything is as black and white as people want it to be. So no, I'm not mad at that dude. I'm not mad at that dude. I'm mad at the dudes that make $50,000, $60,000 and nobody gets their books. I'm mad at those dudes. You know what I mean?
That's
Those
what drives me
guys-
crazy. Is like these huge campaigns that do 50, 60, 80, $120,000 and then don't fulfill for like years, or just don't fulfill. And I'm like, us little guys pulling in $6, $7, $8, $20,000 for our Kickstarters. We're fulfilling. How come you can't?
Exactly.
Because
I don't hate the hustle, man. I don't hate the hustle at all. Because
at that point they've got that what was it, 70,000 up their nose. They got a new habit now. They can't feel their faces.
I'm with you. I got you. No, I look at it like that. I look at it like, you got to do whatever you got to do to get through. You know what I mean? And like we were talking about earlier, using the same ideas and the same concepts. I hate that shit. I hate that shit with a passion. You know what I mean? Because the indie community is the indie community. You know what I mean? It's indie books, it's indie stories. And I want everybody to, to do what they need to do and push as far as they can. But man, don't do it off other people's back. You know what I mean? Don't, that's the Century thing all over again. This is why I don't write superhero books. You know what I mean? This is the same concept, because now not only are you running through here and you're like, oh yeah, well, I'm going to use your idea to make a buck. It's your idea. I'm going to take it and make a buck with your idea. Now, those are the things I can't support. The hustle, I get it. I'm about the life.
Oh, I'm making Winnie the Pooh books left and right, buddy. They're coming out. As long as he doesn't have his red shirt, I'm good.
I mean, for sure. But that's part of it now. That's public domain. You know what I mean? That's different. Like when we had our brick and mortar in Jacksonville,
Winnie
Florida.
the Pooh
We
versus
put a,
zombies from deep space.
yeah, I mean, look, man, nobody's got a market on zombies, right? That's all these. You know, the issue is, once again, there are certain things that you can fool with, and it's okay, it's acceptable. Like if you're writing a zombie book, the guys Capcom can't come at you and be like, you can't write zombie books. You know, that's not cool.
Marvel
You know?
had trademarked zombie at one point in time. I don't know if they still have it
That's
trademarked or not.
ridiculous. They probably do. You know, there's a Kickstarter right now for a new Marvel Zombies like trade paperback or some shit. Why Marvel needs to use Kickstarter or whatever is beyond me. But anyway, that's a whole different conversation. My point is, I respect people that are doing the best they can, and if they've got to come up with a way to get where they need to be, I mean, I respect it. I'm not, like I said, don't shit on other people. You know what I mean? But yeah, the hustle, man. Do what you got to do to get where you want to be at. I mean, I do.
100%.
I mean, if it comes between you and your dreams, hey, man, you know, you got to do what you got to do to get there.
Josh Lyman in chat hanging out. Yeah, and one of the things that also and me and Josh had discussed, and we've all talked about we've all seen the union that started over at Image. It's great, it's terrific. Yay, union. Problem is,
there's like 3 people in it.
Oh yeah, and again, you know, I looked at the charter. I wasn't impressed with the charter, but you know, and the things they were asking for, I thought was a little lean. But you know, whatever. Hey, maybe this can work. The problem is though, some of them had their names moved from a book right out of the credits, and I haven't looked at Lola. Can you send Josh a link? And it's like, again, because I mean, I can try to find it.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get up out of here. I gotta put the kid to bed.
Right, sir. Yeah.
So.
Max, where can find you? Where can they find you?
Oh, you can find me at atrocitypress.com, like we looked at earlier today on this very same channel, or you can just search for Atrocity Press or Mary Machine Gun on any social media, and you'll find us.
That's always a pleasure seeing you, Max.
All right, you too, Dustin. It was a good time. Thank you guys for having me. I will talk to you guys later.
Good night, Max.
Bye, Lisa.
So, you know, word is they've had their names removed, and we've been meaning to talk about this. Is one of the things on the list that I can finally get off the list of things to talk about. Having your name removed from a book. Now, I have had that happen to me, but it was act of vandalism. I don't
understand like how you can, if a credit is due, especially like contractually, if credit is due, how are you not? Is it an accident? I mean, you can always be like, I mean, how do you take the name off? Do you change it? Because if you look in your credits for most books, there are certain titles that are always going to be there. You know what I mean? Different names, but certain titles will always be there in your credits. So why on earth? So it's not like you can change the line artist name. You know what I mean? I don't really. How does that work?
I think in this case it was mainly office staff. Give me 1 second. I will pull up the whole story. Where is it? Now, again, you know, I mean, when you hear that, like you said, you start taking names out. I mean, like that. Where in your contract says that's okay to do?
Yeah.
But let's
Now I've had artists not get angry with me, but get angry at people that I've worked with, that cover artists that have forgotten to sign their cover. And I don't put cover artists on the credits. They're on the cover. They're the lead singer of the band. You know what I mean? You're on the cover. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, don't get mad if you forget to put your name on there. That's on you. You know.
This is over at Bound. It's from the 7th, so we're late talking about it. But the names of 10 employees attempting to unionize Image Comics have been dropped from the office credits page of the most recent issue of Hellcat reportedly at the specific request of the publisher's co-founder and Shadowline imprint creator Jim Valentino. And so you can see here's the I guess it's maybe it was the cover.
Yeah, that's a little rough, man. If it's part of your contract that you're supposed to be given credit, or even if it's not, I mean, it's generally proper practice to put the entire team in your credits.
Well, it looks like they've been removed. So like they were the names in the next issue, in the first issue, but I guess the second issue they were gone. Look at that.
That's wild.
So,
no, I don't know. I definitely think there'd be some legal ramification for that if that's but there may be something in the clause, you know what I mean? As an employee, you may not have the right to protection from stuff like that. I don't know. Image is big, man. Image's lawyers are going to do what Image wants to do, so I can't even begin to. It's like fighting City Hall, right? You're not going to come in and be like, well, you told me that I needed to do this, and I did it, and no, fuck off.
You're afraid of the scabs.
Oh God.
Josh brought that story to my attention, and
I just kind of lurk around and see what's going on in the industry, and just kind of just laugh a little bit, and you're like, "Yep, this is happening again."
I mean, get your name taken out the office credits. So at least it wasn't talent credits. But then again, it could spread to talent and credits. All of a sudden, you've been Alan Smithy.
Like canceled variants or canceled anything. When it hits that level, that's when it's going to be cause for concern.
Yeah, I don't think that right now, and even then, when it comes to variants, if you put a variant out, right, and let's say that you've been paid for a variant, okay, you've as an artist you've been paid for a variant. I do generally anywhere between 8 to 15 per book. You know what I mean? So if I've paid you for a variant, and all of a sudden there's a political issue that like you've said something crazy, I've seen it, and it sounds wild to even go there. But I've seen stuff on social media where people have been like, oh, yeah, well, fuck so-and-so, or so-and-so's a on fucking social media. Then it's like, oh, yeah, well, they're worth $300, $400. Let me just put that over there on the fucking shelf because we're not going to ever bring that out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah. But I think it's very, it's very case-by-case basis on things like that. I don't think I'd let things bother me until it becomes an industry standard. When things become an industry standard, it's very telling. Like right now, we joked about it months ago, but it happened when we were like, look, videos are going to be the new wave of marketing on the for Kickstarters. Everybody's going to have a video. They're going to have to. You know what I mean? All of a sudden, Marvel Comics starts putting out videos for their books. It has literally become an industry standard. You know what I mean? So, I mean, what did Todd McFarlane do? He walked away from an entire company with a group of dudes that worked with the company that were still under contract that made another company. It's like shit's going to happen in this industry, just like any other industry that's batshit crazy. Look at the film industry. There's what people look at when we look at comic books is we look at this like almost supernatural world, if you will. You know what I mean? Everything is bright and sunny and flowers and polka dots in the comic book world. But in reality, it's so far from it that it's shenanigans. It's really shenanigans. But I don't know, man. I don't think I'd let that shit bother me. Not even get mad for a couple minutes. But if you've still got your job with that company and you're still making bank and you're still going to be in the next one or another project coming forward, pick your battles, man, because getting on a job like that right now in this day and age is not an easy thing to do. So, I mean, eat crow once or twice. I'm not saying let them walk all over you all the time, but everybody's had a moment in a job where they've been like, fuck, this sucks. I just got the shit into the stick. But at the same time, you may have been there for 15 years and you may have a 6-figure salary and you may not want to give it up for one argument. You know what I mean? It may not be worth it.
Lisa, your name's moved up. Your name's moved up the office credits. It's gone. It's gone. I mean, they were there last month. You know, would that at least be a walk to the editor's office?
Oh, I would definitely ask if because in terms of like when a client puts my name in the book, it's been discussed beforehand. You know, so it's not necessarily like it's not expected all the time, but you know, it's always been discussed.
I think for me, I'm trying to figure out like what was Image thinking. Oh, you guys are gonna unionize our show. You know, you don't exist in my bubble anymore.
Right, exactly.
Or you know, like they could have at least like do what I would have done. Like go to their go take all the eyes off their keyboards.
Nope.
Like
part of me also wonders whether or not, because this is a first issue situation, whether or not they were just trying to flex and they were like, let's see what happens if we copy and paste all of this in here. You know, for all we know, there could be a bunch of people who, you know, didn't want their names in too.
Was that a Kickstarted book beforehand, before it went to Image? Do we know?
I have absolutely no clue. All I can tell you is it's a very, very hard read.
You know, oh, that sucks. But one of those things, you know, what's funny about books that people have never heard of and that people are just putting out their first book is they like to tag everybody down to the wire about their book. You know what I mean? Even if they looked at it one time. Hey, you know, Jimmy Smith looked at my book. I don't know if you want to use Jimmy Smith, but he looked at my book. You know, yeah, I don't know about all that nonsense. It may not be for me. That's all I'm saying. But there's not that I'm not condoning people read that book. Just may not be for me is all I'm saying. But there's there's stuff like that. Like if you put out your first book and you want, like we had an artist that not an artist, but a writer that just came on with Image when we first opened our store. His family happened to live near our shop. And he had us buy 100 copies of the book for him so he could do a book signing and his parents show up and everything else. It was great. Mad fun, right? Mad fun.
Right.
But he put everybody that he knew in the credits for that book that had even had anything to do with it. Because not only did he want their names to be seen, he wanted them to buy it and their families buy it and so on and so forth. And it makes his sales look good. You know what I mean? So for a first issue, yeah, I mean, I get it. I mean, whatever. I mean,
I realized it is just about putting people's names and stuff. Years ago, my first company, I allowed the employees to have bios on the website.
Right on.
No, it'd be kind of cool, and I've since been disabused of doing that, but for various reasons. But this one was funny. This guy, I let everybody write their own bios. It was also a big mistake. There's one guy, I never forget the end of his bio. You know, it was, first of all, when it began with, you know, raised in Detroit, Michigan, I was like, you know, because what he became. But at the end, he's like, you know, love you, TT. Shout out to Draymond. Rest in peace, Grandma. And I'm like, why is this in your bio? Like, it just bothered me to no end. And I used to look, and I remember looking at his bio every day on the website, saying, "Well, maybe I can fire him." Like, maybe I just
over his bio.
Yeah, it's like I can't edit it.
I'm sorry, your bio was too long. I lost interest in you as a human being.
That's too much, man.
I was born a small black child in Missouri.
It was rough.
Some dated.
Larry says, for me, if they worked on a comic, their name goes in, and then Mike says, look, Mom, book.
For context, like the list of people that are listed in here, you know, first and foremost, the reason why I'm saying this is a hard read is this does what that Daredevil comic book was doing for a while, where they use 3D models and renders and they draw over them, but you can still see the 3D models behind it.
Oh,
They're
that's
just like, ugh. You know, some people, the layman may not be able to notice it, but you're like, okay, I get it. You know how to use Z Blender. But like the list of people that are on here, it's like Liana Conter, accounting analyst, you know, so-and-so, accounting H&R manager, talent liaison, director of sales and publishing and planning, director of international sales and licensing, direct marketing, so on and so forth. You get the idea. It's one of those, You know, for all we know, it could have just been, hey, maybe this group is not in.
You know, there are some people who may not even know what
I
their job
apologize.
is. Like they're just like, I'm the assistant director of finance and management.
Cancellation.
I think I just order Burger King every day though.
I mean, but it's like those things, right? There's like, you know, in reality, you're not going to see a marketing manager, generally speaking, in the industry put on something they didn't market, right? If they marketed it, they're part of, like, if they did a commercial, right? If you did a commercial, they're like, oh yeah. I did this commercial. That was mine. I worked on this one. Then their name should be on it, right? If they work on something. So if like, it's like Larry just said, if you work on it, you should be in it. Now, nobody needs to go in and be like, font creator Bill did the font for this book, and this book.
Yeah.
Not the guy that's lettering the book, the font creator. You know what I mean? You don't. There's a level to where it's acceptable. Now, when you go into your team and you go, this is our team. I currently have 29 people on my team. And generally, I list them if there's a team event or if there's something that they've all worked on together. You know, it's something for them to be proud of and something to be happy about. So, yeah, support them, put them out there, you know, get them seen. But if it's shenanigans, don't do shenanigans. You know what I mean?
It's like, we don't know. You know, for all we know.
You know,
that's the perils of these days of sensationalism and news.
Well, I mean, if you look at films now, I mean,
trying to switch over to like proper mic.
You know who picked out Dustin's wardrobe to wear today when he decided to write this chapter? You know what I mean? It's like he doesn't. That individual probably doesn't even need to be. You know, doesn't even need to be known. But whatever. You know.
No, everyone just wants to know what color underwear you're wearing. That's all.
I don't remember, to be frank.
While I remember, Nyobi, use code IndieVote 10% to get 10% off on the website. Lola, tell us about Nyobi.
Don't put me on the spot.
Well, here's the energy chews. Okay, so they got all these different flavors. They're gummies.
It's a powder.
Yeah, but they do have some chews too. They have some on the website. You on the website, they got a bunch of cool different things. I've looked through them. I was gonna order some stuff, but you can use code IndieVote and get 10% off your order over at Nyobi.com. Make sure you check it out. I thought the address is up there, but it is not on the graphic thing. Oh well, I'll make sure it gets up there next time. Also, Lola says, IndieVote merch. Look at all that cool stuff you can get. There's t-shirts.
There's way more than that now. I've been spending like 2 weeks making merch.
Dun dun dun.
I like the back these in that shirt. That's funny.
Yeah, that is a shout out to my wife. She makes sure that I don't do anything crazy.
So check out those. Check out the IndieVote merch on IndieVote.com. It's in the Vote shop. Order today. Lots of stuff there for people.
Now, my wife does like the titty bitty shirt on our Kickstarter right now. So,
and we're gonna put that link in the private chat so I can take a look at it.
That's a fun shirt, man. I'm proud of myself for coming up with that shirt because it was really witty. Whether people get it or not, it's super witty. It's super witty. My dad jokes stand firm, okay?
Not mine. Mine fall flat in the house. Every time I make a dad joke, people are like, oh, shoot yourself.
No, don't get that.
Yeah, make sure you put your link in the private chat so I can go over there and I can pull up. So Josh, I seen that you did some cover Spider-Man covers the other day, 3 of them.
Oh no, I did those technically 2 days ago. I've just been delaying response in what I post online, but
they popped though. There was something different. Was that a different technique or was it just
a little bit? I've been playing a little bit more with combining colored pencil with actual acrylic paints, but also making sure things stay and trying some fixative wherever I can with some liquid frisket. Little things here and there.
Yeah, see, they actually like. I don't know if it was because it was like black on black, but they really popped out.
It's a little bit of that. It's a little bit of everything. Here, hang on. Do. This is the new one. Anyways,
here,
banging.
A little bit of color splatter and isolation. And then, of course, sorry, I'm dealing with a web camera, obviously, on my the new computer. So dealing with the balance of microphones and stuff like that.
They all came out so good, dude. They really did. They came out great.
Thank you.
Yeah, those are.
Oh,
And then,
They're
those
super
are
fun.
awesome.
of course, the booby books are over there somewhere. But
Right.
those aren't ready for public streaming yet.
Not ready for public consumption. I get you.
But
Mike Jimmy just followed Josh.
Woo woo.
appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you. Let me go put these back.
Let me see here.
Keeping that habit.
There we go.
There we go. Much better.
And
What'd I miss?
well, I was looking to see what I had in the chat. Okay, bring these up. There we go. Let's take a look at this campaign that I just got sent.
Side note, I apologize if the sound was off. I normally use this microphone just because it's easier to hear people and communicate, but I guess it's not responding well with my laptop as far as microphone interface. So,
Right on. That sounds a lot better than the last one did. So,
well, giant professional microphone versus, surround sound.
right on, right on.
I'm gonna play this video and let's take a look.
Do
at, Babes going down.
Piece of tail. How may I serve you?
How's it going? My name is Dustin Burnell, founder of Ethereal Publications. My team and I are pleased to bring you Babes, Gore, and Dinosaurs Issue 2. This exciting return to Center City is sexy, gory, and oh so predatory. Everything you can hope for in a multiplex horror is here. Pre-order on Kickstarter today.
Oh my.
Oh man, it's fun.
Also,
Hey, it works. Straight up to the point. This is what we got. Check it.
For sure. Well, we used to do these like super, like this is my, what is this campaign for me? Like my 9th campaign in a year. Almost successful so far.
So you got it down seasoned at this point.
Man, well, it was like we wanted to keep the videos short and sweet because it's literally, we did the 2-minute, 3-minute videos and stuff, and you'd find so many people watched, so many people didn't. So it was like, let's just give people what they want to see,
Right.
But
Yeah,
that is 1 and 2 of the book right there.
You're at $6,000.
Man,
your goal was $1,000.
Yeah, goal was $1,000.
What? So I mean, you're sitting pretty, but you've got a couple days left to go for this campaign. Still,
We got like 2 weeks.
Yeah, 14 days.
Yeah,
lots of stuff in this campaign, lots of different things, and I keep
including Dino Dick.
yeah.
Oh my!
I mean,
I saw it. Hee hee.
I just listen. I keep telling Dustin. I said, listen, between himself, Eric, and Sim, I'm gonna have to go create myself a red dinosaur.
Yep.
Like, I need myself a red dinosaur, or at least a blue one. Like, but I don't know where that would fit in my comic yet. But damn it, I don't care.
I think that we need to make a character for you that's a blue dinosaur. We'll make it happen.
Yeah, just make him like a. Yeah, make him like a blue dinosaur, and he just
man,
walks
little
around.
blue Stegosaurus, the Rasta do on him, down for that.
I remember when
gotta have a coonskin cap.
Yeah. I remember when just thinking about blue animals. I remember when Big Bird turned blue, and as a Big Bird Go Home or something like that. It was a movie. He got lost.
Right.
He turned blue. And I cried in the theater, and apparently, it caused a cascade of other children to start crying.
Oh no!
I had to be removed from the theater, and my mother was so embarrassed. She had to take me out of the theater and told me he's gonna get home. He's gonna get home, but he had turned blue. She didn't understand. He was about as blue as Lisa's wall. Big Bird is yellow. He's not blue. If he's blue, he's sad. He's dying, and and he needs to get back to Sesame Street. And I was very upset. Very upset.
I get that.
I'm also the one guy sitting in the back of the theater at the end of the boy the striped pajamas. I wasn't expecting that. Yeah, you know, you think I would have known. Fun fact: Big Bird being blue originates from the Netherlands.
That's wild.
That's we'll have to get into why, Jim.
There's also a dragon one, and there's a green one with red that's on it's Telemundo or Univision. There's 6 or 7 of them actually.
Yeah,
That's a fun little rabbit hole in case you're ever bored.
Right on. Right
So
on.
different Sesame Streets have different.
Well, I don't have any birds yet.
Give it time. A beak is only so attractive.
I do have dinosaurs and I have bunny rabbits.
Dinosaur, bunny rabbits, machine guns.
Natural
progression.
endings, by the way.
That is the first page of Vivid Hops. If anybody's curious, the preview is available on the Kickstarter. It's 8 pages. The Kickstarter for the full book will be out in the next couple months, so we're pretty stoked about it.
There's no effing like rabbits quote in there. You owe me $10.
Right. And then you got your cover stuff. Bladen did this one. He felt like real. He was like, I really wanted a James Bond theme with this one, and I thought it was fun. So, itty bitty bunny titty. No, there's no itty bitties in that bunny book. I promise you. Then you get into book B, cover B, which is Bladen's second cover. He did this was a lot of fun because, you know, back in the day we used to see those wraparound covers a lot, and we've only done one of them so far, wraparound. And I was like, man, let's do something different. So, yeah, there's a front and a back to that particular cover. So that was pretty cool. It was a fun idea.
Josh, earlier when we were talking about someone sent in a question about how long before someone starts a site that allows you to bid on the box office these campaigns. So you know,
you mean like just generally speaking, or
yeah, like how well actual money will be gambled. You know, there'll be actual wagers. So someone could say, hey, I bet you the cover C for the Babes, Gore, and Dinosaurs 2 campaign, I bet you that does over, you know, $60K alone. You know, and you could do that stuff. And these guys had no problem with it. They had no problem with people making money on their stuff, but they all said they would not bid on it. They wouldn't want any of the action. How about you, Josh? I mean, would you get in on your own action?
I think gambling on the concept of which cover is going to do better, it doesn't really apply to what the market has transitioned into. We've moved into, during the last decade or so, into incentive purchase for certain variants with like Image, Marvel, DC, whatever have you. Whereas with Kickstarters, people can choose which one they want to buy. And naturally, of course, if they choose that they want to spend more to get that specific variant, they can. So I don't think that would really apply in this situation.
But titties.
Yeah. And as far as weighing in on this, I mean, I hate to be blunt, but there's an entire fur community that would sit there and, you know, all you have to do is advertise it on that market and you could literally make money on that alone. You know, if you set up your artist to be like, I'll draw your furry character, you know, interacting with this one.
I want to ask too, because how many perverts do you get now, Dustin? Because I mean, I know with, you know, other books, like I know with the listener, you had to keep this, as it's been told to me, you had to keep the listener totally away from a lot of your other content.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The cool thing about when I put the listener out, I was very, when we put Greed out, Greed was okay. You know what I mean? Greed was fun to put with the listener. When it came to this particular book, my worry was that people would think that it was the same world. That was my only worry. You know what I mean? Because Marvel and DC, they do their own thing. Unlike Image has so many titles that don't connect at all. You know what I mean? But I was worried that people would look at one and be like, oh, well, this is an example of what I'll get in another one. So before we came up with Ethereal, that was my fear. And with the amount of fans and the feedback that we've gotten in a little over a year, I was like, I'm not worried about this anymore. I really think that, you know, the work speaks for itself. Now, the issue with our books, you know, one fun thing about the books is there's nothing lewd in our books. There's no fornication or anything in our books. You know, so it's very much without getting too much into detail or anything, I believe the human body or the body itself is a beautiful thing. So it really doesn't matter. And we've been drawing nudes, sculpting nudes since the beginning of time. You know, it's a medium that will never go away. So I don't feel like no one has come at me in a perverse fashion, because I think maybe it's because my viewpoints, and when I would talk about it, it's more of an educational standpoint or a beauty standpoint, or something majestic than rabbits fucking, because there's none of that. You know what I mean? There's nothing there's nothing even along those lines in our books to insinuate it. So no, I haven't had anybody come.
Whoa. There's no rabbit love in this book.
There's no fornication at all.
Oh man,
so there's only one rabbit.
So but the funny thing is, I've had more flare-ups from the listener than I have BGD. It's just how people view things, and once they get to know you as a creator, people have a better understanding of your creations. You know what I mean? What you're putting out there. BGD is like I had a guy tell me, he was like, "Man, this is the coolest noir book I've ever read." And I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, I'm glad you see it for what it is." You know what I mean? And not something that you're having a perception of. You've read the book, you understand it, and now you're down and you're ready for the next issue. Same thing with If It Hops. We wanted to give people the opportunity to pick up the preview to see what they thought about it before we ran with the entire book. The book is almost already done, so it's like, okay, cool. Well, they've already got their 8 pages coming, but if they enjoy it, we'll move forward. We'll continue to put the book out. We did the same thing with BGD. A lot of people don't know that, but we did the preview for BGD before the campaign. We actually took BGD 1 with us, the preview, to MegaCon, and sold 100 copies of it in like an hour and a half. It was a really telling experience. So that's why we ran with the whole book. It's always, as a publisher, especially a newer publisher, it's like, okay, well, we have to make sure that we have the fan base, that people are going to be interested in the books. I had never seen anybody put out a dinosaur book like that or anthropomorphic book like that at all. So I wanted to put it out there so people could get a vibe for it and people enjoy it, so it was very telling for us. So when we came up with If It Hops, I've never written like a police crime drama before. And you would never know that that's what If It Hops was until you picked it up and started to read it. Like I said, the first page is her dancing in the shower. It's fun. It's a lot of fan service in the book, but at the same time, it's a very deep, dark story about serial killers, right? But it's super cool. It's like Zootopia for adults. It's real dark, real gruesome, but the art's beautiful. I love Bladen's art. He and David Acampo doing colors. They do both If It Hops and BGD. So it felt like this was the place to show off If It Hops. If we were going to put the preview out, this was the book to do it with. I don't know. I think that people have a different concept. When we were kids, this book would not have done well. There would have been all kinds of judgment. There would have been all kinds of craziness, but now we're getting films that are producing more anthropomorphic characters. Like I said, you've got Zootopia, you've got Sting. They just brought Space Jam back out for the Looney Tunes. You're seeing more and more characters, but people are more open-minded about art than they've been in a really long time now. So you can look at a book or read a book even and go, man, that character is really cool. You don't necessarily have to worry about what they look like. What they look like is more of an afterthought of what's going on in the creator's minds. Now you're getting this great story that's taking you to a place where you can relate to these individuals. Like BGD is the realest comic book I've ever read in my life. And I'm not trying to shoot my own horn. The characters are very real. They're very relatable. They have real lives. This is occurring in their real life. It's not fantastical or anything like that.
I was looking at we got a question here from Indie Radio too. Folks, you remember Babes Going Dinosaurs on Kickstarter. 14 more days. The link is in the description of this video. Go over there and check it out. We just said someone backed it while we're here on air, so
Dope.
go over there and check it out. And get yourself a copy. Secure that copy, and you're gonna get that preview if it helps as well. Indie Vote Radio. This is from ENDRE. I guess it's Andre. ENDRE. Andre says that I think that indie comics will be a lot like independent or even mainstream gaming in a few years. You're going to have people popping up with new impressive studios that eventually close, maybe merge. You'll have talent go over to another studio until things shake out. There will be constant delays on AAA products. It's all to be expected. Things will be fine. And that's from Andre. What do you think, Josh? You think that'll be how it ends up?
I mean, there's no new ideas and there's no new stories. So it's just a different storyteller and a different campfire. So yeah, things just repeat. So absolutely. Yeah. I do believe like, hey, you're always going to have somebody who can tell the story slightly differently or work together with others and create that story. But, you know, yeah, it's just gonna be the 90s all over again. We'll have Image, and then we'll have the Shadow Line, and Shadow Line will merge, and you know, DC Elseworlds will disappear and merge into the universe again, and we'll have Valiant and Milestone, and everybody comes in and comes out. It's you know, I mean, it's a kind of a good thing at the same time if you think about it, you know, in the grand scheme, you know, like earlier today with you know, Activision Blizzard being bought by Xbox.
Crazy, right? That's wild.
Right?
Microsoft just
Like
picked up
Blizzard of all people. I'm like, how did you not make more money during lockdown?
I don't know, man. I you know, it's interesting that's a very interesting take on what's happening right now, especially with Josh bringing up the 90s. It's a very telling thing though. At the end of the day, just like the 90s, there were 5 to 6 companies that stood amidst the rubble of what was left. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But a bunch of those companies, but sadly, one of those has just been bought out, and that was Dark Horse was just bought out not 2 weeks ago. You know what I mean? So they've lost most of their properties. You know, from Godzilla to Predator to Aliens, they Terminator. You know what I mean? They don't have the properties that they once had. So that's to be expected. If you lose your rights to things, yeah, man, you're scuttling yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're actually not going to be able to float. But I think that what's interesting about what he mentioned primarily is when, you know, Andre is talking about the fact that people are going to move around. That's such a very telling thing. But here, I'm here to tell you, there's nothing wrong with people working at multiple places. It's so good for the industry that it's ridiculous. All these guys, you know, one thing that's different about now in the 90s, all these guys are getting paid. What you don't know about the 90s is a lot of those fuckers weren't making no money.
Oh, absolutely.
Marvel was keeping money from people left and right. You know, contracts. What was that? The big deal we were just talking about the other day, Varian, the whole deal with if you did the artwork and they decided not to use it.
Oh the Marvel contract. It said you got paid after 30 days after publication,
right,
of the book, not after you turned it in.
Right,
it's at the publication. The book had to be printed on store shelves.
Absolutely, and that's very telling about where we are now versus where the old guard treated people and where we are treating people now. The big difference now in the 90s, though, is there's a million companies cropping up different than they were before. 90s had a lot of comics for sure, but now it's such an easy thing to do to reach out and go, hey, man, do you want to do a comic book? Now, half these people, and jokes aside, half these folks that people are buying books from don't even have companies. They're just putting these books out like it's like a yard sale. You know what I mean? They don't even pay taxes on it. They don't nothing. You know what I mean? So it's very different. So what I'm seeing is it's like silt, right? When you go into the ocean and you rub the sand all up and stuff, and it starts going to the, you know, cream rises to the top, right? So eventually you start seeing the silt start to settle. Like right now, there's probably 50 new Kickstarters that have shown up. We might see 10 of those 50 next year with us in the following year. You know what I mean? And it's very interesting how it does very much resemble the comic wars of the 90s. You know, it really does. It's a very cool analogy, Josh. I appreciate you sharing that.
No worries. I mean, it sounds kind of maudlin in the sense of like it's like, oh no, hey, the world just never learns. But in reality, it just boils down to is these are the things that we get used to, we enjoy. You know, I just sit there and I go, okay, so how are we going to create? You know, I was earlier today, I had one of these weird introspective moments about creating content versus creating, bringing something into existence. And, it helped reset some things. So it's like when we're talking about doing variants or doing something that's public domain, or we're creating something, when you're talking about sifting, you're sifting through and seeing who's going to survive, who's going to stand out in that pile of rocks and stand, and shine just a little bit. Even if it's just a tiny little glimmer, those little pieces add up and have some worth. So I don't know. I just want to focus on the positive part of it. And so it's like, you know what? It's going to happen. Yeah, we're going to have people that create their own little, their comics and their brands. We're going to have variants. We're going to have shops. We're going to have people that, run their shop out of their garage or from their, their living room.
Well, look at Bud Root, right? In the 80s. Bud Root came out with Basement Comics in the 80s.
Yeah.
And Cave Woman out since. You know what I mean? Like, it's not an impossible feat. And I don't ever want to focus on the negative myself either. You know what I mean? It's very, I was surprised. I did a show. I did Greg's show, Comic Talk show one time when I first put out my first book or second book. And we got Project We Love on the second book. And what I didn't know was the panel was full of people that had not met their goals. And I was not, I knew nothing about this when I came into this panel, so I'm all going, positivity and everything else. They're like, well, there's 6 people in here that haven't, put out a single book and haven't funded in years. And I'm like, oh, well, awkward, but that if you look at the law of averages, not everybody's going to make it. You know what I mean? So it's very helpful to go in and show support to your comic book companies that you enjoy and stuff. Go in, show them your love, back their books, share their product, let them know, man, because it's a dog eat dog world, man.
I've been trying to comment more on people's stuff, and that's a stretch because I spent the last year and a half just kind of keeping my mouth shut because every once in a while what I type comes across as very aggressive, and it's like that's not what I'm trying to do. So it's like let me pull out the HK47 emojis, LOLs at the end of everything.
That is I was gonna say that you guys know that when you're giving, like I said this story before, when you're giving critiques, you got to be very careful because people get really upset about them. And my son's been learning there's something in feedback and criticism, and we've been working on that a lot. I think in our industry we could use a lot. We could use a lot more of both, but a little more thicker skin from our creators. Just a bit more.
For sure.
But we have reached the end of our show, so I'm gonna tell where they can be found. I like that, Mike. I like that. Congrats. You failed. Learn from it. Love it.
I learned what a scaly was, Varian. I learned what scalies were. That's one thing that BGD taught me. I didn't know that was a thing. So I'm okay with it, whatever.
I got made aware of it at con. I was like, oh, really? That's a thing. Okay. Lisa.
Yeah.
Where can people find you at and inquire about your services?
Right now you can contact me through either my personal Facebook page or through Melone Management, and it's Melone with an E, MELONE.
Very good, very good. And you can catch Lisa Saturdays on Pitches Be Crazy. She's one of the judges up there. She's a nice judge. She hates being a tiebreaker. She does not like being a tiebreaker. She hates being a tiebreaker. Yeah. Mr. Lyman, how are you, and where can you be found so that people can stalk you on?
How I am is a much deeper question, but you can always find me at Art of Josh Lyman on pretty much every major social media. Facebook, it's /Art of Josh Lyman, but Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, all those horrible things. I am Art of Josh Lyman. I just draw stuff at this point. I had a variant that fell out, but I have 4 more that are coming out. February 18th is all I can really say about it right now. So some people can put the math together on that. And so those will be fun. But other than that, I just, working, trying to get back into doing more professional stuff. Spent the last year just mostly doing one-on-one things. So,
right on.
Yeah.
I had seen the other day too that Tops got bought. I was going to message that to you, but
What's that?
again, I guess Tops, the card company Tops, they got purchased.
Topps got what? They got bought?
Yeah, they got bought. Yeah.
Oh, I just found down the rabbit hole. I'm kind of kicking myself about it. I was like, oh, I didn't know Warner Brothers owned Funimation.
Yeah.
What do you know?
Dustin, where can you be found at?
Just about anywhere you can look up my name on social media. You know what I mean? The only thing I don't do is TikTok, which apparently I should be. Apparently there's writing TikToks now, and I don't know anything about that stuff. But yeah.
That's a topic for post then. It's one of those things where it's like I'm still trying to get into it, but it's more about the person versus the artwork or what you're working on. So it's like, oh, can you jump in on the conversation? So.
Yeah. So I'm other than TikTok, I'm starting to work on my Discord more, because a lot of people are asking to see the artwork on Discord and stuff. So I'm working on that more. And then Facebook and Instagram. I'm, you can just look me up. All my stuff's open. Because I use it all for work. You know what I mean? So any social media profile, you can find me. I keep it all open. You guys are welcome to come chat or anything like that with me, or message me. I tend to get back to you in a few minutes because it's like an umbilical cord for me. Just because I have our books are dropping at a rate of like a book every 6 weeks now.
That's great.
I'm very thankful. So it's literally like I'm answering questions, or I got artists that want to do covers, or I got this, or I got that. And I'm always trying to keep active with you guys, because that's the world we live in right now. Social media is so huge that I try to be able to answer anything I can as soon as possible. Other than that, guys, like I said, you can look up Ethereal Comics on Instagram and Facebook as well, and I'll answer from there too.
And Miss Lola.
Dun dun.
There you go.
Yeah,
Link trees. Love it.
Indie_princess, and a link to my wish list.
Very cool. And then, of course, you can find Lola. Are you back here tomorrow night?
Yeah.
Back here tomorrow night. She's going on 1 hour of sleep, so we're gonna put Lola to sleep right after this. She's going right to bed, and then I'll be back Thursday morning for Indie Book Breakfast Buzz.
We have a launch party Thursday morning for Breakfast Buzz.
It's gonna be a good time. It's gonna be fun. Can't wait. Also, guys, remember, if you're looking for Gemini mailers, you can get them very easily, very simply. Go to GeminiComicSupply.com and use code VOLT10. That's VOLT10. Code VOLT10 at GeminiComicSupply.com and get 10% off your Gemini comic supplies. That includes those beautiful Gemini mailers, which industry standard.
Right.
Guys, thanks for being here with us. This has been Varian Grant from his sofa. This has been great. Thank you for listening. We'll see you guys. Have a great week. Try to lead this industry in a better place than you found it. Talk to you soon.
Later.
That's not how it works. That's not how any of this works.